All right, that slowly fading song was Opeth. The song was Moonlapse Vertigo off of the disc Still Life. Mercenary before that with Bullet Blues off of Ever Black. In Flames with Embody the Invisible off of Colony. And Carcass doing the title track off of Heartwork. Now, that was a pretty heavy set there, and the reason I did that was that I inflicted a little bit of jazz and new age on you in the previous hour. I wanted to remind you that this is a heavy metal show most of the time. In about 7 more minutes, it'll be 9:30, and time for the Northwest Indiana Wrestling Action Program here on WVLP. It's 103.1 FM from Valparaiso, Indiana, and I'm very happy to have in the studio with me to talk wrestling the Bambino family. So everybody say hi.
Hey, how you doing?
How's it going?
How's it going?
All right, mic checks confirmed. Everything sounds good through the headphones, and okay.
Yep. Yeah,
So we're going to sit around for a few minutes here, listen to one more track. This will be by Judas Priest. It's called The Last Days of Summer. It's off of a very old disc, Sin After Sin. When that thing came out, there weren't even CDs around just yet. This thing probably came out on 8-track vinyl and cassette. But now I grew up and I have the CD version now. The theme of Mostly Metal tonight has been summer, so most of the songs you heard had summer in the title, and this one does as well. It's a little bit on the mellow side, but hey, it's Priest, so you can't complain, right? Tune in to Mostly Metal next week when I will have Bill Koch from WVLP's show Under the Radar Sports, which is broadcast at 10 a.m. on Saturday mornings. Normally he talks for 2 hours straight about sports. Rumor has it he actually stops and takes a breath once in a while, but he knows a lot of stuff. And he said, hey, I'd love to do a music show and do a cover show sometime. So I said, hey, come on Mostly Metal, and we'll play 2 hours of nothing but cover songs. I'm pretty sure he's going to bring some Blue Oyster Cult, and we'll see what else he brings in. But that will be next week. So Judas Priest here with Last Days of Summer, and then it'll be time for wrestling.
This is WVLP at 103.1 Low Power FM in Valparaiso, Indiana, and you are listening to my dad's obnoxious music.
Your insubordination will not be tolerated.
This is Ken the Metal Professor, and it is now time for the Northwest Indiana Wrestling Action Program here on WVLP. This is the 25th, I don't know what you call it, edition or issue. It's not an issue, it's not a magazine, but the 25th time that I've done this thing called the Northwest Indiana Wrestling Action Program for at least 15 minutes. So do any of you guys read comics?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. When you get to a milestone issue like 25, 50, 100, they generally make them larger. And so in that spirit, my 25th episode of this program, I've got 3 people in the studio. So this is like a supersized version of the show. And I'm really happy to have in here the Bambino family, all the way from north central-ish Indiana. So they drove a long way to get here, which is great. Unlike a lot of people that have come in, you're not missing a pay-per-view. Which is good. That's an occupational hazard here. But we'll do introductions all around. So first I'll introduce Pops Bambino.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Glad to be here. Thanks for having us.
I'm extremely excited that you guys are here. And I'll turn it over to you to let you introduce the other 2 gentlemen that you've brought in with you.
So what I have over here to my far right, I have the big man, Dom Bambino. He's known as the Lady Killer.
How you doing?
And then in the middle, to my immediate right, I have the Juice, Vinny Bambino.
How's it going?
All right, so Dom and Vince and Pops.
Yes, sir.
And Pops is not just a nickname. You're actually Pops, as we discussed a while ago.
Yep. These are my prides and joy right here. Two of them. We got 6 altogether, but these are 2 of them.
What are the other 4 doing?
There's hope for one, maybe. Yeah. One still will get into the family business before it's all said and done with, but the other ones are doing pretty well for themselves outside the business.
Staying safe.
Yeah.
So I've been watching you guys perform for it's probably been about a year, because the first time I saw you was at the Smash Mouth Pro Wrestling event here in Valparaiso. It was one of the Smash Fests about a year ago. Actually, I think I saw you there twice, because the first time there was something to do with Rex Hart was supposed to be on the show, but then wasn't, and so there was a rescheduling for the next time. And then since then, I've also seen you at Fire Pro Wrestling twice now, and you were also at Acme Championship Wrestling once, and hopefully some more times. And the reason I'm rattling these off is because those are the ones that are closest to this area. So when I'm talking about shows here, it's the Fire Pro and the Smash Mouth and the Acme Championship Wrestling, which are the ones that I mention a lot.
Sure, yeah.
So you've been getting up here. But where else? So you have All Star Pro Wrestling down in Shelbyville?
Yeah. We unfortunately, the boys, we just dropped the straps down there. We had the tag belts for 301 days down there, and we just dropped the straps last month to our arch rivals, the Axemen. That's Big Mark Houston and Clint Poe, Big Country Clint Poe. They are the Axemen. But we're not done with them. We're going to get them in a rematch on the 22nd of July. And my boys are going to be ready for them this time.
That's right.
They look ready. Now, are you active in any other groups kind of down in Central fairly regularly?
Yeah.
Drop some names.
As a matter of fact, we have been down to WCWO in Indianapolis, Don Basher's organization. Matter of fact, played a huge part in training my boys. You could catch us there on the occasional Friday night down there. He runs shows every Friday night. Don Basher does. We got a show coming up at the Stables banquet room for IWF. That's Austin James's promotion down there in Indianapolis as well. On the 16th, we'll be there, and then we run monthly in Crawfordsville as well, but for NGW, and but this month or in July coming up, it's going to be at Tippecanoe County Fair in Lafayette. So we're looking forward to that as well. We pretty booked up every weekend for the next couple of months.
That sounds good. No, so it is sad to hear that you dropped the belts, because when I was looking around, basically everything I learned from Facebook.
Sure.
So as I was poking around and looked at the Bambino family Facebook page, which is out there, everybody should go like it, right?
I would appreciate that.
Yeah,
we all would, right?
Absolutely.
I did in the picture for the All Star Pro card. I saw the belts on your shoulders, and so I was going to ask about that, but so unfortunately now I've got to scratch that off my list, right? So you can,
yeah, for now.
But
we're going to start another legendary title reign, starting in July. So
there are 300 days.
301 days,
301
actually.
days.
Yeah.
Longest reigning of all time.
That
But we're
sounds-
going to beat it again.
That sounds great. Now, for you guys, were there any, something disappointing like that happens, and you're leaving the show, and he's in the car? Are there any extra harsh words, or is it any tough love, or is it just all confidence building like he's been doing now, and no worries, we're going to get him next time?
It depends on the situation, how we went about our win, trying to get it, doing whatever he can to help us out in some situations, whether he got the job done or not,
Okay. In terms of your shows up here, so Fire Pro, you'll be back, going to come back there?
July 15th, we'll be back here Saturday, July 15th at Fire Pro. Which I'd like to say that I'm a huge fan of the fan base at Fire Pro, because they seem to get the Bambino family. They cheer us a lot, right, boys?
Yeah, they love us up here.
Yeah, the fans in Central Indiana and in the South, they could take a lesson from the fans up here at Fire Pro, because they cheer us, they like us, they respect what we have to offer, and hopefully we get a shot at the titles up here. We came in here, we came to Fire Pro to get a shot at Drex and Mustafa, who have had a reign of terror up here for like a year themselves. So we've yet to get in the ring with Mustafa, and I'm not sure that we are, but we really want to shot at those title belts. So hopefully we get that coming up on the 15th of July. That's a good locker room. I like those guys over there for the most part, except for Drex, and Drex is going to get his.
Well, I think a lot of people don't like Drex and Mustafa, and that's probably why people took to you so readily, that there was somebody that might actually be able to do something about them, because Drex and Mustafa have been beating people down pretty regularly. They're large guys, right? And people don't like what they do, I think. But it seems like, especially after the match you guys won last time, that when you talk about having a title shot, I'm not quite sure what the status of those guys is at the moment, because they came out saying that Drex had embarrassed them when he lost the previous card, when he was there without Mustafa, and then this time he had the Punisher as his partner. And you guys took the win there, and it sounds like they weren't very happy with Drex. So who knows if Drex and Mustafa are even going to be a thing?
Yeah, for what it's worth, they shouldn't be too hard on Drex, because a lot of people get embarrassed by the Bambino family, quite honestly.
That's right.
So, but on a personal note, we need to, we don't care who it is. We want a title shot. We want to come in there and get those Fire Pro Championship belts. And my boys are ready for that. So we don't care who it is. We just want a shot at the title.
I think a tournament would be a good idea. They just did a tournament for the Impact, what they call the Impact Championship. So it's the one that Austin Fury has right now, I think. They ran through the tournament. So especially if Team Blackout isn't going to be holding together, maybe they'd put those things up and do a little tournament. That would be nice.
Sure.
And
it
then
doesn't matter who it is. My boys have convinced me that they're ready.
Anytime, any place, we love putting boots where the sun don't shine.
And ACW as well. You were there. Was it the very last card they had? The most recent card?
No. I think they were at Key Valley High School last card.
Right.
We were at Lake Village Elementary School. That was that May? That was early May we were at.
That was May 5th.
Yeah, May 5th.
May 5th. So the official calendar keeper. That's good.
Vince keeps the dates for us. He keeps the important stuff like where and when. Thank you, son.
Good work. So, and I was not able to make that card, so I didn't get to see you there. But hopefully, you'll get to come back and work at ACW sometime. And you said there was a particularly personal reason for you to perform there.
Yeah, I grew up in Lake Village, Indiana, before I started hailing from none of your stinking business, and I actually. I never got the opportunity to work in front of my hometown, and it was an honor to bring my sons there and let them perform, and put boots to heads and make people sleep with the fishes. It was nice. It was real nice, and my family and friends came out and they gave us a warm welcome, and we'd love to go back. And the people at ACW, class act people, they run a good organization over there.
Yes. Is the town of None of Your Stinking Business, is that close to parts unknown, or are they far apart from each other?
Yeah, see, I can't really tell you, Ken. I'm sorry, buddy. I can't let you in on that. You're a good guy. Got nothing against you, but there's a lot of people that would pay a lot of money for that information. I just can't tell you.
You got to keep the secrets. I understand.
Thank you.
So in terms of traveling, I'd mentioned that you had just come up here from that mysterious locale. And it didn't take you extraordinarily long, but it wasn't just driving down the street either. So first of all, I really appreciate you making that trip to come visit the station here. How does that come? And at first, I was thinking, having somebody drive all that way to talk for like only half an hour. I mean, maybe it's worth it, maybe it's not. But then I think about you guys and others that put a lot of miles on your cars. Driving to places for matches that last less than half an hour. So maybe it wasn't that bad a deal. But What's your normal like monthly load on the car? How many miles are you traveling every month as you're going around? And I'm not going to do any calculations to try to pinpoint where in Indiana that location is in this where, but
Well, here's the deal. I'm sure Vince might keep track of that stuff, but we're not going to talk about it because I know exactly who knows how many miles are on the car, and that's Mrs. Bambino at home. And if she's listening, she might call in, or if there's a call-in section on this program, she might call in and tell everybody herself. But, it's a lot of miles. Yeah, absolutely. But you know what? I wouldn't trade it for anything right now. I mean, I get to spend a lot of time with my boys and, get to see a lot of places and a lot of good people. So, yeah, a lot of miles. And I hear about it from, like I said, Mrs. Bambino a little bit too much. But, it's worth it. It's worth it.
I'm having visions of a very angry person with crossed arms waiting on the porch with toes tapping and receipts waving in the air when you guys pull up after another one.
Hey, Pops, how much gas did you put in the car? Honey, there's gas in the car. Don't worry about it. There better be. And then I know she's serious.
So who scares you more then, the Pops Bambino or Mrs. Bambino?
Oh, Mama Bambino, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Now, do you have to say that, or is that really true?
Oh, that's true.
I can believe it. So what's the farthest that you've gone to do a show?
Salem, maybe? Salem? Yeah, Salem, Indiana, way down south.
So is that I don't know where that is. Is that kind of like in that far southwest corner where there's no good way to get there from anywhere else in the state, or is that southeast?
It's
Or
about 45 minutes from the state line from Jeffersonville, probably.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
about right about there. Bobo Brazil Jr. runs MCIW down there. We've been down there with him a few times.
and you're out and about just about every weekend, it sounds like?
We try to stay active. But, it doesn't always work out. Sometimes we have other family business we have to take care of, that I can't talk about on air.
That has an ominous sound to it. I'm not sure I want to pursue that line of questioning. We'll leave that for somebody better equipped. So, guys, for people that haven't seen you before, this is a question I ask a lot of people when they come in here. So what is can you describe your style? And for somebody that hasn't seen a Bambino family match before, what can people expect the first time they see you?
That depends on, where you're going to find us and, how the crowd is. When we get in front of crowds who don't really appreciate the Bambino's kind of work, we're a little bit dirty, a little bit hard hitting, might do whatever we got to do to get on top, but we work together great, very creative together, just do what we got to do to get the win.
Now, if people are not appreciating what you're doing, do you tend to have a lot of back and forth and jump down there and get in some old lady's face and tell her what's what, or do you just leave them alone and let them say what they're going to say?
If that old lady's not showing any respect to the Bambino family, unfortunately we do have to jump down and get in the face. But I mean, if she shows respect to the family business, then we got no problem with her.
What's the craziest thing that's happened in terms of fans being around the ring and trying to give you guys the business while you're giving somebody in the ring the business?
There's been a couple times where having security outside the ring's been pretty good to us, because we've had a few instances where people they try to come over, they wanna get their hands on us, but we got security to keep them back, because they don't want any of the Bambinos.
What are the sizes of the crowds like? Say if you're down at All Star Pro Wrestling, as compared to a Fire Pro show up here, a little bigger, about the same?
They're pretty good sized crowd, about 200, 250, about that size.
Okay, so I'm trying to get an image of what the setting is like when you're at those shows, because up here at some of the places, I don't know if you heard last week when Jeremy Tillema was here, he was talking about the idea that there's either an invisible or an actual kind of line that's in between you guys and the crowd. And in some places that line is either just not there, there's a front row of seats and that it, or like at Fire Pro, there's a chain that's going around, but I've seen that thing gets knocked over by a stiff breeze. So that's not a very good. Do they have larger, more barricade types of things down there? It's a little more rigid, or is it still just open season and everybody's around? And
Down at All Star,
Yeah.
it's open season. There's
Oh,
nothing when we're in somebody's face. We're in front of their face. Nothing holding us back.
What made you decide that this was that this is what you wanted to do and you were going to follow in Pop's footsteps here? Did he tell you were going to do it, or was it your decision?
It was definitely our decision, and I think we just had a love for this line of work. Watching Pops do it from a very young age, and being able to get him back into it, to do it with us, it's been a blessing, and it's we love the business, love doing it as a family. Definitely our choice, and he's helped us a lot through it.
That's great. So let's go in the Wayback Machine then, and I'm sorry if use that phrase for for that, but
Ouch.
it's not way back. It's
Ken, I like you. I like you.
But I'm pushing it.
Tread easy.
So go down memory lane and kind of just, can you talk about your personal evolution overall, how you got started, and up to when you kind of stepped away for a little bit until these guys brought you back in?
Yeah. Probably 96, in 96, end of 96, 97, I saw a commercial on the television, and back in the day, Rex Hart and Rod Bell, Lightning Rod Bell, or Hot Stuff Rod Bell, two very important gentlemen in the business, and to me, who helped get me going. I went to school in Lake Station at their training school, and they got me in, and we wrestled all over Northwest Indiana, Northern Indiana, and then I was fortunate enough to go into Illinois and St. Louis and a couple other places throughout the Midwest, and enjoyed it. Got to meet a lot of the guys that I watched on television as a kid. And then my life went into a different direction. Had a family, started focusing on being a dad and stuff like that. And so I left it. I took a time away from it, and and then one day, a bright-eyed teenager named Don Bambino says, "Dad, I don't think I'm gonna go to college. I think I'm gonna get into pro wrestling. Can you help me?" And I said, "Pump the brakes, son. Pump the brakes." And and then I ran into some. I still kept touch with some friends from back in the day, and PT Hustler. I'm sure you know who that is. He was a mainstay up north, and he's wrestled all around. But he's retired now, actually. PT Hustler was training down at Don Basher School, and at the time, and I said I need to get my boys trained, and what the deal was that Dom would go to college if I got him trained at the time. He's not going to forego college, and so he kept his end of the deal nonetheless. But we took him down there to Basher's school and got him trained with a lot of good guys down there, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, going on the road with the boys from back in the day, the boys that I wrestled with, my colleagues, it turns into going down the road with my sons. And it's been nice. It's different. It's definitely different. You go down the road with your sons, and you're not the same guy you were when you go out with your friends who were in the business. You know what I mean? But having a blast.
I've never heard any off-color or bad stories about things happening out there on the road and at the shows. Everybody's well behaved. No cursing, no drinking, nothing like that. There's nothing to worry about.
Well, yeah, I mean, and if you believe that, we can go off the air here, and I can tell you a few stories to conflict with what you're saying. But it's not like that with my sons, trying to keep these knuckleheads on the right path,
Now, is it always smooth sailing with you guys? Because have you been a tag team pretty much the whole time, or did you start off as alone until he came along and joined the team?
We had started training together. I think originally the plan was that I was just gonna go, but first day of training, he came down with. Both got spent several months in training, and we started out as singles competitors. Kind of keeping the family business down low, just being working, not so much using each other, and then a few months, year later. Let independent wrestling know what the Bambinos family is about and what we do.
Mm-hmm. And do you imagine it's smooth sailing from here on out, or can you imagine going as a tag team, or can you imagine going back to singles competition at some point?
I think we would both very much love to, keep the family business going and doing what we do. We love it. We got a love for tag team wrestling. It's awesome, and it's so much fun. And there will be some instances, being separated where we'll occasionally wrestle as singles competitors, but for the most part, we'll be the Bambino family.
All right. Who are your influences? Like who have you watched before as younger kids, or even now that you look at either as singles or as tag teams and say that's it. That's I'm going after. That's what I want to be like.
Man, there's so many people. We're pretty good fans of, older back in the day wrestling. I know me and Vince are fans of the Rockers.
Okay.
Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty. We inspired by them.
Yeah, sure.
Just a lot of old '80s, early '90s tag teams. That was when we enjoyed tag team wrestling the most. Inspired by a lot of those guys.
Yeah, it's just between you and me. There's probably a big difference between what they consider back in the day wrestling.
Yeah, sometimes they say back in the day, and I'm looking at like early Von Erich stuff, and they meant like 2000.
Yeah. I can't remember who it was who was in here, and I basically asked the same question, and the guy said, I remember growing up watching Shawn Michaels. I was like,
Yeah. I would say that it's these guys learn a lot from the other guys in the business on the independent circuit. You know what I mean? There's been so many guys out there, whether we've worked with them, whether they've worked in the ring with them or not. There's guys like the Legion up in Michigan. They worked them before. The
Nitro and Malice.
Yeah. The Van Zants, Tom and Troy down at All Star. JKO, the Kemps, guys like that. Somebody we haven't worked yet, but I think that's been very instrumental to where the boys are at right now is the Bomb Shelter with Joseph Schwartz down there. He's he's gone out of his way to kind of extend his hands to the boys. But there's going to come a day where we're going to get in the ring with the Bomb Shelter and a few of these other teams that we're inspired by, and all that inspiration goes out the window because in the end it's boots to heads when it comes to the family business. But there's a lot of good guys out there, but eventually all good guys fall too. So we'll see.
So they shouldn't inspire you too much.
Right.
Is there anybody, and I don't like to talk about the national stuff too much because there's plenty of other people out there that do that better, but just for these guys and for anybody out there who's listening and maybe interested in learning, is there somebody that you can point at, tag team wise, say, watch those guys, watch what they do, and you will learn a lot?
Currently, would you say?
Yeah.
I would say like the Revival. The Revival to me is, in my opinion, is the best tag team out there. Everybody has their opinions, but I'm a huge '80s tag team wrestling fan, and the Revival is just that. They're like a revival. Apollo Star said it best. They're like a revival of Totally Unarmed, and they are really '80s wrestling at its finest. So I'm a huge fan of those guys, and I think like a lot of people can learn from them. Brainbusters, the Brainbusters from back in the day, guys like that. Good tag team wrestlers. I myself, huge fan of the Legion of Doom, but they're not going to win any technical wrestling contests, that's for sure.
In the very near future, in terms of shows and matches you've got coming up, I know at Fire Pro you'll be on the card on July 15th, and that will be at Impact Christian Church in Merrillville. I think that's where they do pretty much every show now, but it's a little unclear who exactly your opponents might be at this point.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're not sure who that is.
And are there any other things you want to plug that are coming up immediately, where you know who you're gonna face, and you want to tell them what's going to happen to them?
I would say, I know we're going to be on the day after the Fire Pro show. We're going to be in Indianapolis at IWF, which is Austin James Promotions show. I believe we're going to be facing Sean Kemp and Joey Venom. I believe, not 100% sure on that, but they're going to sleep with the fishes. And then a week later, we're going to be back at All Star on the 22nd, and it's going to be my boys, and it's going to be the Axemen for revenge. We're getting a shot at our titles, our rematch, and Dom, what's going to happen? What's going to happen at that match?
A clean, more appropriate description of what's just going to happen. The titles are coming back home to the longest reigning All-Star Pro Tag Team Champs of all time.
That's right. And then, and then on the 29th will be the 29th of November, the 29th of July will be at NGW at Tippecanoe County Fair in Lafayette.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
That's the immediate, what we got going on. There's, that's the immediate future, but we got some bookings all the way up into August, and you can keep on the Bambino Facebook page, on Facebook to see us, the Bambino family, to keep up with where we're going to be.
All right.
We try to keep that up.
You anticipated my next question, because we're kind of running out of time here. I was going to ask how folks could keep a count on how many people are sleeping with the fishes, and it sounds like the Bambino family Facebook page is the way to go.
Yes, sir.
BAMBINO.
Correct.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for coming in. Good luck with everything that you've got coming up sooner and also later. And whenever you want to come back, just let me know.
It's been an honor. We appreciate it.
Really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You bet. Thank you. Thanks for coming in. This is WVLP. That concludes the Northwest Indiana Wrestling Action Program. And now it is time for a replay of Punk Rock Radio.